Ready, set.
Herman. The Owls open the season on September 2nd against Monmouth. Coach will ask for an opening statement on being here and the upcoming season, and then we'll take some questions.
It is absolutely great to be back coaching college football and back in the American Conference. I'd like to take a second right now to thank Brian White and his trust in hiring me and his leadership since we've been here. It's been a pleasure working with him in our administration, and as I've said before, players and coaches win games. Administrations win championships, and we have an absolute championship administration. And I also want to thank our phenomenal staff. As you know, I kept 4 full-time assistant coaches. I kept the head strength coach. I probably would have had a mutiny had I not kept him, but I think that speaks to the quality of men that they are, the quality of coaches that they are. We've got former Division I head coaches at Kansas and Georgia Southern. We've got national champions on our staff. We've got first-round draft picks, second-round draft picks. We've got our offensive coordinator, Charlie Fry, played in the NFL as well as coached in the NFL. So I could not be happier. I say that with truth in my heart. I could not be happier. These past 8 months have been the most fun I've had coaching in a long time. I've been so impressed with how hard our players go at Florida Atlantic. They just go, and how tough they are, both mentally and physically, and how quickly they bought into our way of doing things. And the way they respond so enthusiastically and willingly to our style of coaching, to being coached hard, to being demanded things of, to having very, very high expectations and standards. They want to win. They want to win. And it reminds me so much of our first year at the University of Houston. You know, you're dealing with 2-star, no-star guys with a chip on their shoulder. I like to use the word rugged. Rugged. We got rugged dudes on our team. Rugged dudes. And it reminds me very, very much of our time at Houston. And our guys here at FAU that you'll be hearing from, hopefully you've heard from them at some point either yesterday or today, they have made coaching fun again. And I appreciate them for that, so thank you. And I am really, really excited to see how that translates on the field. Before I take questions, I do I don't want to dampen the mood, but you know, I had no idea that Chuck Carlton had passed, and I just, for those of you that have worked with Chuck at the Dallas Morning News, as I did, we lost a good one. We lost a good one there, and the Herman family will be thinking about him for sure. And then Terry Price, the world Texas A&M grad and defensive line coach. The world has lost a really, really, really great man. Yeah, he was a good coach, maybe the best D-line coach in the country. But he was a better husband, a better father, a better man. And to Devin and Kenya, I appreciate you guys trusting us with Devin, and we're here for you, whatever you need. But we lost a good one a few weeks ago, and he just so happens to also be the dad of a player on our team too. So it hit home pretty hard. So with that, I will take some questions.
AD Moore, Ad Max Corner. Coach, welcome back. Have you introduced the kids to the chain on the door yet?
We did. I'm not going to lie. We didn't do it right away as we have at our previous stops. We've grown in our time. We trusted the players a little bit early on, and they trusted us. Their buy-in was very, very immediate. But as I like to use the word, when people ask me to describe our program in one word, I always use the word parental. when your baby is born, those of you that are parents in the room, you don't wait to see how fast it can run, how good looking it's going to be, how tall it's going to be before you love it. You just love it. You love that child. Why? Because it's yours. And that's the same thing when you take over a program. Like, I love every one of our players. And you say, well, Coach, you just got there. I know. They're mine. They're ours. I love them. I don't care how fast they can run. I don't care how good looking they are or how tall they're going to be. I love them. And so we gave them some freedom and a couple warnings that the locker room was not to you got to act like a champion before you become a champion. And, you know, we had a 5 and 7 locker room. And so we locked it and said, you guys had much like a parent, right? Like, you had your chance, we warned you, and so we locked the doors and made them earn their way back in. It was only a couple days, but they got the message very loud and clear. And going back to the parental, so when a player gets to our program, we're going to shower him with unconditional love. Unconditional, because they're ours, right? They're ours. And we're going to give them every tool and resource known to man to be successful in life and on the field. But with that comes, much like a parent, being held to some very high standards. And much like a parent, there are consequences when those standards are not upheld. And we educate, and at times you have to take some drastic measures to get your point across with teenagers. And we did, and the point was very well received.
Joseph Boyd, Dallas Morning News. Tom, I wanted to ask you about the intersection.
Will you tell Chuck's family I said I'm thinking about him?
I will.
Thank you.
I want to ask about the intersection between NIL and the transfer portal. How has roster building and roster retaining been in this era?
I am so proud. I mean, it's made taking over a program a little bit more challenging. You know, the first week we were allowed to go on the road in December, I had just gotten the job. You'd think, man, you should be in every living room you can get in to make sure that these guys stick around. Well, I spent the very first week trying to meet with as many current players as I could in my office from like 7 in the morning to 6 at night. I mean, they were just shuttling in and out. And I felt that was important, one, to build relationships, but two, I knew that people were calling them, you know, even though their names weren't in the portal. And they were getting courted. And we got some really good players, really, really good players. And I knew that coming in. It's one of the reasons we took this job. And I wanted to make sure that our really good players stayed at FAU. And to their credit, to the Chaz Neals of the world, the Armani Adams, the Evan Andersons, the Larry McCammons of the world, that are kind of our bell cows, if you will, those guys stuck around. And pretty much all, I mean, not pretty much. I was thrilled with our retention for a new coach to be able to come in and really not lose anyone of significance. You know, and you asked about the intersection. It's difficult. You know, I was telling Dean earlier, I am for NIL, 1,000%. I'll try to give you the short version, but when I was at Ohio State, Braxton Miller got called to the carpet because he was some fan or donor emailed about him wearing a Louis Vuitton belt. What is a student athlete doing wearing a $1,000 belt? So I was asked to get to the bottom of it, and Coach, it's a knockoff. I paid $75 for it. So I went, this is 10 years ago now, 2013. So I went to ncaa.org, and I went to their fan shop, and I get it, the NCAA used to be able to get away with just putting their numbers on the jersey. Well, the guy's the two-time Big Ten Player of the Year, silver football winner. Everybody knows who wears number 5 for Ohio State. But those were the rules at the time. So I get on their fan shop, and right there in bold letters, I'll never forget it, it said on ncaa.org, Braxton Miller, Ohio State jersey. And I didn't know what to do. And I believe that every human being on this planet has the right to monetize their name, image, and likeness. Every human being. If the market says we want to give you money for your name, image, and likeness. And Braxton Miller would have made probably millions of dollars at Ohio State, legitimately. The The problem I have is the collective, it was not the intention of NIL, and these collectives that are paying kids, $50,000, $100,000 to tweet about the YMCA once a month. Like, come on, man. Let's call a spade a spade. And so if a kid is good enough and the market says, we want to give you money, give you gift in kind, give you whatever, Dr. Pepper, I don't know how much Bryce Young made, but that's legitimate. Bryce Young, what was he, the first pick in the draft? Okay, so that's what the intention was. It wasn't to pay kids to do nothing. And that's where it has gone, and so that is difficult. But back to your original question, really, really excited and proud of the amount of great players that we were able to keep.
Trey Smith, College Game Time. Coach, speaking of transfer portal, I want to ask about quarterback Casey Thompson. You and him are no strangers to each other. He came in, I think.
7 years, I think we counted. Yeah.
And I think it was the beginning of the summer when he made the decision. Has he had a chance to get acclimated to FAU? And then two, what are your expectations from him this season?
Yeah, I think he's gotten acclimated. I mean, Casey's coming off of shoulder surgery, so I think that's probably the most important thing, is to make sure that thing is healthy and ready to go when we open up training camp. But he's been in our summer workouts, getting acclimated. He's got an apartment. I believe, Chaz, you're living with him, right? Yeah, so Chaz is his roommate. I mean, he's definitely gotten acclimated. And as for expectations, I don't know. I really don't. Daniel Richardson, Ben Ballard, and Tyreek Starks, they're going to have something to say about it. And those guys had a really good spring. They were in our winter off season. They went through spring practice. The good thing for Casey, he's spoken this language before too, and so the learning curve is a lot less steep for him offensively. So we brought him in for a reason. And I've told this in front of the entire team, so it's no secret. When we go recruiting, we're trying to out-recruit you. We're trying to get better players than you. I owe that to Florida Atlantic football. And it's your job to make sure that I can't find a player better than you. And so I think that's going to be fun to watch. We brought him in for a reason, and that reason was to compete for the starting job, assuming he's healthy. But I do know that the other guys are going to have something to say about that. Can we turn his? Yeah, can we turn the volume up? I'm really hard of hearing. That's fine. Just talk loud. Oh, there you go.
You can look out that big window there and see where you coached in a Big 12 championship game. What's it like for you to be back in Texas for the Media Days kickoff and your return to coaching?
It's a hotel in a city. I mean, we enjoyed our time living in Austin. 6 years, my family, 4 years for me. And we love the state of Texas, but I'm really excited about being at Florida Atlantic and really, really excited about what we can build here and our future. So if they'd have had this thing in Phoenix, I'd have had the same emotions, or in Atlanta, or it'd be nice if Commissioner Oresco's around, if we could do it in like Miami one year, or Boca Raton even would be nice. But no, it's just a media day.
Hi, Coach. Zach Barnett, Football Scoop. How meaningful is it to you to be able to coach with
You
David
guys were the
Beatty?
OGs, by the way. There was K-Coach and then you guys, so congratulations.
That's right. Thank you. So how meaningful is it to you to be able to coach with David Beatty again?
To coach what?
To coach with David Beatty again.
Oh, man. To coach with David Beatty. Coach Beatty taught me the no-huddle offense. When we first got to Rice, we stunk offensively. And I was embarrassed because we were really good at Ohio State or at Texas State. And we had really good players in Chase Clement, Jarrett Dillard, and James Casey. And we said we got to do something different. And Dave said, well, we were no huddle last year. And basically in a bye week, the rudimentary version of the no huddle offense. Long story short, we became fast friends then, and he's one of my closest confidants. And I'm really, really excited to work with him and to have his experience as a head coach. You know, him and Chad Lunsford have both been Division I head coaches before, so I lean on them quite a bit as well.
Thank you so much, Coach.
What's that?
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Go Owls. That was easy.